everyone, welcome. Hi Shop Girl Shock 1960. Hi everyone, it's so nice to see you all. Hi. It's so good to see everyone. Welcome. I hope everyone's well. Thank you again for joining us for another edition of the Social Distance Book Club. We're just waiting for our special guest Irene to join us. It's so nice of you all to come and spend your Thursday night with us. Thanks for sending up those hearts. It's so good to see you all. Hey everyone, welcome. I hope you're all doing well on this rainy evening. I hope you all have a lovely beverage close at hand as well. Come in, welcome. Oh, and there's Irene.
I'm just setting my phone up.
Absolutely. Hi, welcome.
Thank you. It's like a nice rainy evening tonight in Toronto.
Absolutely. Same here. I hope you're doing well on this Thursday.
Thank you. You as well.
Lovely. So we usually give folks just a little minute to settle in if that's okay. And likewise, if you're feeling good and comfy.
Yeah, no problem. I'm just going to grab a glass of water.
Great idea. It's so great to see everyone.
You've got Jan Arden on next week. That's pretty exciting.
That's so awesome. We've had a stellar lineup, and yourself included, Irene. We're so thrilled to have you here and for you to spend your evening with us in our book club. Thank you so, so much.
Oh, no problem. I'm always happy to talk about food. So
amazing. And I hope everyone's brought their foodie questions for Irene and, send us some comments. And likewise, Irene, if there's a comment below that you ever feel like responding to, between the two of us, hopefully we'll be able to keep track of everyone.
Perfect. Amazing.
Awesome. Well, for everyone that's just joining us, welcome again to another iteration of Milton Public Library's Social Distance Book Club. Thanks so much for sending up those hearts. We are absolutely thrilled to be live tonight with Irene Ngo. She is the food content director for both Chatelaine and Today's Parent magazines, both of which you can subscribe to through NPL's Flipster platform. And again, Irene, we're so thrilled to have you. When I first reached out, you were so game and welcome to participate from the start. So we're so thrilled for you to be here.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Emily, for reaching out.
Well, I feel like especially during these pandemic times, food is bringing us somehow closer together, even though we're all far apart. So between, the staff at MPL and our patrons, we've been connecting through food. And so we're really excited to learn more from you tonight as well. And one thing people have been really interested in is your role as a food content director. That sounds so interesting. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. So I'm basically in charge of all the food content that goes into the print magazines. That mainly includes recipe development. So I develop the majority of the recipes that go into the magazines. And sometimes, like if I have a bit of overflow, then I have a team that I go to that helps me as well. And ultimately, I'm just always keeping up on what kind of trends are going on out there, what kind of seasonal foods. That's always a real hit with a lot of our readers. What's in season. I go to a lot of grocery stores just to see, what new products are out. And it's just really being on the pulse with what kind of foods and food trends are out there. So I'm what I do is I take all that information and condense them into recipes that are easy and accessible so that Canadians all across the country can make the recipes at home.
That's so interesting, and that's so neat. They are very much national magazines, so to keep the pulse from coast to coast to coast, that must be a big job. And someone commented that it sounds like the best job ever. So that's really cool.
It's definitely my best job ever. So
That's awesome. And that actually leads into my next question. I was curious, were you a foodie from a young age? How did you come into your passion?
yeah, I actually went to culinary school as a second career. So I didn't really, it's not that I didn't know that food was my passion, but I didn't know that it could be a career that was viable for me until I was in my late 20s. But I grew up all over the world. So I grew up all over Asia, all over North America. So I've had a lot of I've had a lot of different types of cuisines, and I've been exposed to a lot of different types of cooking and foods around the world. I love to travel. I mean, when we can travel, I love to travel. And all that just culminated into a real passion for food. I loved cooking at home, and my first career was in advertising. And when I was in it for 6 years, and I thought 6 years into it that, you know what, I just would rather do something I'm passionate about. And that's when I went to culinary school.
That is so amazing. What a journey. And it looks like we've got a question here. I'm just asking about some of the current food trends. Is there anything that you're noticing, especially maybe right now in the quarantine kitchens of everyone around around Canada?
Yeah, it's so funny because obviously with COVID-19, the way that people are cooking have possibly shifted a little bit than how they would have done it beforehand.
Sure.
So I wouldn't necessarily call this a trend, but I think there's been a lot of Canadians who have been a little bit more, they're a bit more experimental in the kitchen now. Like maybe they have more time, maybe they want to switch up the novelty a little bit and try some new recipes. So definitely during the earlier days of COVID, sourdough was a real big thing with a lot of people, and I had never made sourdough before, so I actually tried to make a starter with what I had in my own home, and I just had kind of like that basic Robin Hood all-purpose flour, and it just completely failed. It just didn't work. So if anyone else out there is struggling with that, just know the food content director of Chatelaine also did not succeed on her first try. Developing recipes is definitely a trial and error process. So at some point I just got to go out and get a couple more different flours and see if there's another flour that maybe works best for that kind of product.
Fabulous. Well, that's so reassuring. It's try again. So I love that. Also, another great question here from one of my colleagues who I know is an excellent cook. Do you have a favorite season to bake in? So, for example, the fall pumpkin, or do you have a favorite season?
That's a really good question. I mean, because I'm cooking all year round for the magazines, I don't have a favorite season. I mean, I'm going to say by default, it's probably around Christmas, just because we always have really good Christmas cookie stories issues during Christmas. And that's when I get to be a little bit creative. Every single year, if you're coming out with a cookie story, you don't want just like, okay, well, let's put another shortbread out. So I do have to spin my creative wheels a little bit to make things fresh and unique every year. So last year, as an example, I actually created some cookie recipes inspired by cocktails. So yeah, so we made like what did we do? Like an old-fashioned cocktail inspired cookie where I put in, it's basically like an icebox shortbread, but I added some rye flour as a play on words for rye,
Right.
the spirit, and with some maraschino cherries that we dried in the fridge just a little bit to dehydrate, and dark chocolate for that bitters aspect, and orange zest, of course. And I thought that actually turned out really fun. So yeah, a lot of it is really just like repackaging the same old ideas into something new and different. And really, I'm just there to try to, or not just me, but like the entire staff at the magazine, really just there to like inspire people to try cooking at home. And you don't even need to necessarily step by step. Like we want it to be a guide so that you can your own kitchen.
That's so interesting, and it really sounds like a blend between, art and creativity and science, and oh, that's such an interesting thing. I love cookbooks, but I guess I'd never really thought about all the work and trial and effort that goes into developing cool new recipes, like, cocktail-inspired cookies. That's brilliant. We've got a couple more questions.
And you really hit the nail on the head there, because it is a combination of art and science. I feel like I'm kind of freezing here a little bit.
Oh, a little. I feel like it's always that internet connectivity. Let's double check here. I'm sorry.
What happens in recipe development is there's a lot of measuring that you're using. It's not just that if a reader makes it at home, it'll turn out, pretty similar to how it is in our test kitchen.
Of course, there's so much to think about. And we have a couple of questions. Irene, do you have a favorite cuisine and also a favorite cookbook or favorite chef? Can you let us know some of your favorites?
Yeah. My favorite cuisine. Oh, that's so hard because again, I lived in so many places. But I definitely have an affinity for Asian cuisine because because I've lived in a few different Asian countries. And so Chinese cooking, Thai cooking, my mom, so Thai food, definitely Korean food, Japanese food. I mean, that being said, I love all foods. So I'm basically one of those people where my friends, they get nervous to cook for me sometimes because they think, oh, you're a professional chef, I'm really scared to cook for you. But I love it when people cook for me to take back into the test kitchen, use.
That's so interesting.
Book author. I really like Ottolenghi.
Oh, and I'm so sorry, Irene. I feel like I'm breaking up as well, so I'm so sorry if it's a bit scattered for you and for myself. I'm so sorry. Hopefully our connection is okay.
Yeah, there's
I just wanted.
Yeah, it's definitely flickering in and out for me. Yeah.
I feel like everybody is here and everybody is online. All right. So sorry, just trying to catch up here. There we go. Hopefully that's a little bit better. Is that okay? Technology.
Yeah, it's a little bit better. It seems to go in
There
and
we
out,
go.
but right now I can hear you.
Hopefully it'll behave itself in just a second here. Go. Awesome. I'm just trying to catch up with all of our great comments and all of your insights, Irene. It's fabulous. One thing that had just stood out to me before things were breaking up was that you'd spoken about how people are perhaps a little more adventurous right now with the time, but also comfort food is seemingly so important nowadays as well. It's such an interesting dichotomy between the two. One other thing I'd love to mention is in your Twitter profile, you.
So I couldn't hear.
Oh, so sorry. Let's see if I can try this.
That's okay.
Catch the Wi-Fi here again. Oh. Irene, I wondered if you might be able to address maybe some of the questions down below, just if our connectivity isn't great, if you're seeing them.
Yeah, I'm seeing a favorite recipe that you love. That's a really good question. It's I bought some bacon like at the grocery store, and I just shop at like stores only because when I'm recipe developing, I need to buy things that are available basically to everybody. So I go to just like Sobeys, Loblaws, Fresh Show, No Frills, and I happened to pick up a pack of bacon because I was making Caesar salad, and I thought, what, rice, and that's kind of been my go-to, I guess, quarantine meal because it's so easy to make. Like you just fry up some bacon with and some minced garlic, and then some sauce in our fried rice. So I season mine with fish sauce. But these where you definitely don't need a recipe. It's just you're just kind of tossing everything in, and I can just eat bowls and bowls of it. Cooking.
Awesome. Oh, thank you so much, Irene. And again, I apologize for the technical difficulties. I hope if folks are still able to hear and connect, please do keep asking your questions below, especially if it's a little difficult to hear.
Looking at some of the other questions, you could take the day off and have someone cook you your food you choose. Oh, that's so hard. What would I eat? I don't know who that person would be, so I'm just going to tasting. I love going to restaurants that do tasting menus.
Yum.
Where you kind of get like different courses. I love that personally because it showcases the creativity of the chef with how they use their ingredients. And something you had brought up, the food waste thing. I am actually very big on food waste. I try. I'm one of those people that tries to use up like every part of the vegetable can, or even with canned chickpeas or something. I always try to use the liquid as well. And that comes from me. I worked at a meal kit company. Like I was part of the founding team of the meal kit company, and it was really important for me in the recipes for the person making it to be able to use up as much stuff in the box as possible. So I really took that with me after I left, and now whenever I'm making anything, like I do try to use up everything. Sometimes you can't, sometimes you just can't, and you just end up throwing it. You just throw it in the freezer, turn into stock or something else. But it's something that I aspire to do, is to try to use up everything that I can.
I think that's such a great message for everyone. You know, the environment is on people's minds these days, and so that's such a great approach.
Yeah, and Creeping Time just said, yeah, veggie scrap stock is amazing for that, and it really is. In my freezer, like I have two different ones. One I keep like chicken bones, like if I'm roasting chicken, chuck the bones like in one of the bags, and the other I just use for like odds and ends of vegetables. And when you end up making some stock, if you throw in some tomato paste into your stock, it gives it that really neat flavor.
Lovely. And I think that ties into Lisa's next question about the nostalgia of food. That sounds so comforting. So do you have a food that evokes those memories?
I should. You think I would? You think I would? I mean, that is a very legit question. I can't really think of one right. I can't really think of one right now. But what I will say is, so my parents actually live in Thailand. They don't live here, and I grew up in Thailand as well. So whenever I go back, being in North America, as diverse a culture as we have in Toronto, and amazing for getting different cuisine and different types of food. Toronto is probably one for that. You just don't have a ton of authentic food. I do have to give a shout out to one of my favorite chefs in this, Nui Regular, who owns Thai and makes some amazing Thai food. But of course, you can't make everything that they sell in Thailand, so whenever I go back to Thailand, I just like, there are certain foods that I just have to go eat. It's like I have it on the list. I'm like, okay, while I'm here, I got to go eat this and this and this and this. And it does. And when I'm home in Thailand, it's like, I don't know, it just reminds me of growing up there, and I yes, now I want Thai food, but
yeah, I'm here for that.
Yeah, now I'm feeling nostalgic for sure.
Oh, that's so lovely, and I feel like that's so relatable to everyone. So thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. And
I see a question about the perfect cheesecake. How do you make the perfect? Actually, we actually just ran a recipe in our May issue. That's the one.
That is beautiful.
By step on how to make a crack-free cheesecake. So you can definitely borrow that issue from the Milton Public Library, or just visit Chatelaine.com, and we have. It's important, like one of the important steps about making a crack-free cheesecake is doing it in a water bath. So it controls the temperature, and also making sure that your springform pan. So we put 4 to make sure that no water gets in from the water bath. And after it's done baking, when you take it out, when the top is like still nice smooth, you take a paring edge and just cut around the sides so that the cake releases itself from the edge of the pan. Otherwise, if you don't do that, then as it cools, it actually, does the whole contracting thing, and that sometimes is what causes the top to sit.
Oh, thank you so much for that awesome tip. And yes, it's step by step in the magazine. I have a feeling that lots of people will be working on that this weekend. I think we all deserve a treat, like that gorgeous cheesecake on the cover, Irene. It just makes me happy to see it.
Yeah.
Uh,
I know, and the photo, I just for the record, I did not bake the cake that's on the cover. That was done by one of our food stylists, Dara, and yeah, she did an amazing job decorating that on the
it's
cover.
beautiful, and all of the food styling throughout the magazine is just absolutely mouth-watering. But you also make it so approachable for people as well, which is lovely. And yes, as
No, thank you.
it is life-changing. So thank you for sharing that. Um, Are there any other tips and tricks? You know, we've been sort of without flour in many places. Flourless baking
Mhm.
is huge. Is there anything else from your quarantine kitchen that you might be able to share?
Anything else from my
And and oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I feel like I've frozen again. I'm so apologetic. I can't quite hear, and so I apologize if other folks have. We've lost sound here. Check that out. So sorry, folks. Are folks still able to hear? Oh, folks, I'm so sorry about the technological issues for tonight's social distance book club, especially since it's been so lovely to chat with Irene. Lovely, thank you. And oh, okay. Yes, I'm so sorry. I feel like we've lost sound on Irene. I'm so sorry. It definitely has been so lovely to have you as a guest, Irene, and I feel like we've learned so much from you. Um, we're just wondering, Irene, I'm not sure if it would be possible for you to come out and then come back in, just because I'm sure folks will want to say goodbye to you. I'm not sure if you might have a chance to be able to do that. Um, just with not being able to hear. I'm so very sorry about that, but I feel like, again, we've learned so much. It's been so lovely to talk about food and family and staying together. No apologies. I feel like this is, again, the vagaries of technology in the times of COVID. But if everyone could say thank you so much to Irene, and again, keeping an eye on the next issues of Chatelaine and Today's Parent. Irene, any luck there? Oh goodness, it's probably to do with the weather as well. I feel like we've gone in and out. And thank you so much for sending up those hearts for everyone that enjoyed it. And thank you again for joining us. I hope you'll join us again next week, as Irene mentioned, for Jan Arden. And we're so excited for that. And we're so excited for everyone that keeps joining us for the Social Distance Book Club. So we'll say farewell for now. Good night, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.